Okay, I have just started a poll and I can't seem to see the comments. So let me see if I can see them from here. Okay. So hi everybody. I have not been on live in quite some time. Anytime I decide to go live, something comes up. So hi, Alice. How are you? Good morning. So, finally back on live. I'm excited. I missed you guys so much. Of course, I see you guys every day on other people's lives, but I missed actually chatting with you from my live. Hi, Lungi. Good morning. How are you doing? Good morning, Joanna. How are you? Thank you so much for joining the live. I'm doing okay, Alice. Today is a very hot day here. It's like 12 now, so it's the hottest at 12. So, and I think that I'm all caught up with work and with school. So I'm not feeling as overwhelmed as I was before. But yeah, I just need to get back into my routine. So I'm doing much better. How are you doing, Alice? You were packing yesterday, so are you at home? Are you at home today? Joanna, Lungi, how are you guys doing? I'm well, guys. Dre, how are you? Yo, it's cold this side. Oh, you see, the problem with here is it's either extremely hot or extremely cold. And we have like maybe 2 weeks in autumn, 2 weeks in spring where we have like really nice weather. So when I'm in summer, I'm always saying, oh, I hope it's I miss winter and I wish it was winter. But then when we get to winter, it's too cold, so I'll be like, oh, I wish it will be summer. So we only get like 4 weeks of good weather. That's why I enjoy going home, because home has the perfect weather. Thank you guys for voting on the poll. Not wearing headphones, but here I'll listen soon. Okay. Thank you, Lungi. Thank you for joining. So, my topic for today is, as people, what are we trying to prove and who are we trying to prove it to? And this topic came about when I was watching Hoa's live on over the weekend. I think it was over the weekend. And she kept on referring to English, and she doesn't like talking in her videos because of her accent. And I remembered that there was a period in time in Zimbabwe whereby people were so concerned about. Okay, Joanna, no problem as long as you're here. People were so concerned about their English, and people were so concerned about their accent, about where they live, where they come from, what they eat. And it was almost like they felt less than because of their background or how they spoke or what they ate. So, for context, in Zimbabwe, we have 16 official languages. And of course, we were colonized by Britain. And because of this reason, our official language is English. Good morning, Dr. Amy. How are you? Thank you for joining. Guys, we have 6 people in the live, but only 3 likes. So please like the video. And thank you for voting on the poll. So, English is our official language, and we have a very high literacy rate in Zimbabwe. So, everywhere you go, people can mostly read and write, and people can speak basic English. And it's it makes it easier to communicate in that way. So English for me is good for communication. But when it becomes a measure of intelligence, I think that's where we get it wrong. I think we get that. That's the first thing that I want to speak about here. So, yes, English and how you speak it should never be a measure of intelligence. Thank you, Lungi. Thank you. Good morning, Catherine. Thank you for joining the live. Thank you so much. So, yes, that was my first point. When we speak English, it should only be used as a mode of communication. And I don't understand why, especially when we were younger. This was something I think we all went through in Zimbabwe, especially when you move from primary school to high school. Because if you go to a private primary school, how you speak is different from if you go to a public primary school, and also the area you come from. And then when you move to high school, most Zimbabweans, I think, go to boarding school in high school. And therefore, you come from different places and different backgrounds. And people used to laugh at you if you pronounce a word wrong. I'm saying wrong because we are African. So we have an accent whether we like it or not. And just like a German person, when they speak English, they have a German accent to their English, a French person. But when we look at a French person speaking English, we think it is it's sophisticated. You know, they'll go I don't know if you can understand me, and then we'll be like, ooh. But then when I speak English and I have my Shona accent, it's like, why are you speaking like that? So I feel like as Africans, we feel like we have to have a clear, almost British accent if we were colonized by Britain. If you're not colonized by Britain, maybe an American accent, and you're supposed to pronounce everything exactly how they do. And I think that's where we get a lot of things wrong, because who are we trying to prove that to? Because most British people or most American people only speak one language. And that's why they have the accent that they do. Actually, when you look at Americans, depending on where they come from, they have different accents. Just like the people in the United Kingdom, depending on where they come from, they also have different accents. But I have never seen an interaction where they say, oh, you speak weird because you are Scottish, or that's not how you pronounce things, because they understand that they come from different places. But when it comes to us, we find that as something that we laugh about. Okay, let me go to the comments. Luni said the struggle of English being a measure of intelligence. Exactly, because I can tell you that I knew a lot of people in my primary school, in my high school. Their English was a good level of English. They may have had an accent, but they were top of our class. So I don't understand how that works. The funny thing for me is other countries don't really care. Hey, but Africa, exactly, Lungi. That's exactly what I'm saying. They have their different accents depending on where they come from, and they don't care. But with us Africans, we want our English to be perfect. Joanna's greeting. Alice said, Yo, Lungi, it's another level, especially amongst us black. Thank you, Alice. I actually didn't want to say black people. I actually didn't want to say that, but that is exactly the point. As black people, we try and prove, and that's why I said, who are we trying to prove to? Why is it now in this day and age we are still trying to prove something to people who actually don't add nothing to our lives if we're truly honest, right? How I speak English and how I do my work, that doesn't affect anything, in my opinion. So I just think that we need to get that mindset out completely. Uh, okay, good morning. Thank you so much for joining. Greetings to Joanna from Catherine. Um, yes, and that is exactly the point, Lungi. We are thinking that speaking English is going to propel us forward in some way, but that's actually a backward way of thinking because we are still trying to prove things to our ex colonizers who actually don't care how we speak English, to be quite honest. And I had a situation, I had a event I was attending here, and it was a mixture of German people, British people, and French people. It was an opening of something, and I was speaking, and one of the men there was like, "Oh, she speaks English so well." I took offense to that because I don't understand if I'm sure in his head he thought that was a compliment, but no one ever says to a British person, "You speak English so well." And that's another thing. Also, maybe let me go on a little tangent. We celebrate other races or people from other countries when they speak our language, and we don't care what accent they speak it in. So if a German person speaks Shona, for example, and he posts it on social media or even in the street in Zimbabwe, because we have, I think we are a melting pot of a lot of countries in Zimbabwe, mixed cultures and everything. So when they speak Shona, we put them on this high pedestal and we celebrate it no matter what accent they use. But when it's the reverse, it's like, well, you're supposed to speak it properly. We are not, because we have our own accent. Dr. Amy says there is a tendency for some of us to view accents as indicators of intelligence, education, or social status. Our accents can sometimes be unfairly stigmatized due to lingering colonial attitudes. Exactly. Exactly. We are still trying to prove something to our ex colonizers, and they don't really contribute anything to us right now. If we focus on our culture and we focus on education, we focus on developing our own nation, then we really have nothing to prove to anyone. Cheerful Cheerfully A. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but hi. Good morning. How are you doing? Thank you for joining the live. Okay. Yes, Catherine is agreeing with Dr. Amy. So much decolonial work needs to be done. Exactly. So let me just go through the comments and I will go through the next thing I want to talk about. So everyone is greeting. Dr. Amy says, "I love to speak English anyhow, just to prove a point." So you'll be mispronouncing everything just to... Yes, Dr. Amy, because English really is just a mode of communication. Lungi said, "Not even speaking our language, just 3 words we celebrate, and that exactly. Just to say, eh, in my country, we'll say mangwanani, and they will say mangwinini, and then we'll be like, oh my God, you speak Shona." And then no, it doesn't make sense to me at all, but unfortunately that's the life we are living right now. It is a very backward mindset, like Alice said. um Dr. Amy said, some Black people I worked with experienced internalized bias, feeling pressure to change their accents to be more accepted or understood. I work on identity, so I could go on and on. Mm, that is, I can't type, lazy me. They have to give us a voice note feature on lives, Dr. Amy. That's what I think. And I'm not British. Exactly. We are not British. We're not American. So we are going to have an accent when we speak because it comes from our local language, our tongue, the way it rolls, the way words are pronounced, the way we pronounce R in Shona and the way we pronounce R in English are completely different. So it comes out as we speak. Lungi said, a white person says Sawubona and we go mad. I'm like, wow. And it's only one word. We know the full English vocabulary, but no one celebrates us for just that. Um, Lungi said, one thing about Dr. Amy, she doesn't like typing, and I get her. And also, the characters on YouTube are very limited. So with me, I have to type like twice to get my point across, so I understand. And must me say butter and let's prove that you're not British. I am not British. I am Zimbabwean of Shona descent. So I'm not British, and the way I say butter is not going to be the same way a British person says that. So, yes. Dr. Emma said the problem lies with societal attitude and biases. Shame. Lungi, I type for work. How can I type for fun? Please, we need we need a voice note feature here. So another thing I wanted to also address is this thing of culture. And I was watching Unlearning with Joey, and she was talking about social media and being minimalistic, and how us as African people, our whole thing, I think, as African people is color, because and I think it depends on the weather we come from. We come from a tropical area. We have a lot of color within us and around us. So even when it comes to our fashion, we like color. We like things that are extravagant, and then we understand that that is an expression of who we are. But when it comes to social media, sometimes people think that we have to tone down. So even the way we speak, we have to speak in a certain manner, in a certain accent. The way we dress, we have to be a little bit toned down to be more fashionable. And yes, that's something else that I think that we actually don't need to prove anything to anyone, even within our fashion, because we have everything that we need as is. Do you know YouTuber Kaisen? Please rate him out of 10. I don't know him, so unfortunately I can't rate him. And Max me. Yes. So another thing that I also remembered as I was thinking about this topic was, in Zimbabwe we have our staple meal, which is sadza. Pap in Guys, I don't know what just happened. I hope you can see me because it just said reconnecting. Okay, I think I'm back. If you can still see me, please let me know. Please just confirm. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lungi. I don't know what happened, but yes. So another thing I was saying, our traditional meal in Zimbabwe is sadza. And because we have a lot of influence from the British, we also have some German people, we also have Portuguese people, Italians as well. When you went to school, in primary school or in high school, you would be kind of ashamed to say that you had sadza, and it's our staple food. So we have it almost every day. So within a week, you'll probably have sadza 3 to 4 times in the week. Then you'll have rice, you'll have spaghetti, you'll have whatever else. But people used to be ashamed to say that they eat sadza. And I think that's okay. I realize now why my network is going in and out. I was getting a call. I hope you can still hear me. I don't know what's happening. I'm back on live and then things are just going haywire. But yes, so when you went to school, especially primary school and high school, people would be ashamed to say that they're eating sadza. Imagine your staple food, you're ashamed to say you're having soft porridge for breakfast. You want to say that you're having cornflakes or you're having oats or you're having a full English breakfast or something like that. So I think that that mentality, like Dr. Amy said, there's a lot of decolonization that needs to happen whereby we think that anything that is Western is better, anything that is not of our culture is better. And once we realize that, I feel like we are going to exceed a lot more than we are now. Because if we're still trying to live up to a standard that we can't maintain in our own countries, then it's going to be difficult to actually stand out. I was watching a discussion on a podcast and they were talking even in music, right? A lot of artists, when they get big, the first thing they want to do is have a Grammy or something like that. And they have their own local awards and they don't invest in their local awards. They don't attend their local awards because they feel like the epitome of being recognized is the Grammys. And I think in Zimbabwe, maybe we haven't gotten to that level yet, but we have our own local awards. And I see that people really show out for our awards, and I'm really proud of that. And I think the more we invest in our own things, our own movies, our own music, and the more we try and be authentic, the rest of the world is going to recognize us more. Okay, so let me catch up. Catherine said, interesting. We should be proud of where we are coming from and how we speak without having to be someone else. Exactly, because that's your tongue. Your tongue is, how can I put it? The way you speak a different language depends on your own local language. So you can't change that about yourself. And why would you want to change that about yourself? They don't change to try and adjust to us. So why would we want to change to adjust to them? We have serious identity issues. Exactly, Dr. Amy. And that's why I was asking, that's why the topic of this is, what are you trying to prove and who are you trying to prove it to? Because I can guarantee you, no matter how good your accent is, no matter how much pasta or European rice or Western rice you eat, you're always going to be African. So if you are African, why not be proud of who you are and showcase that in a manner that shows that we are great exactly how we are? Dr. Amy says, it's the same here. A friend told me she got trauma eating fufu every day. It's not our fault. We're learning and relearning. That's true. That's true. In secondary school, a friend lied that she didn't eat gari, and we found her eating some. Exactly. Why are you trying to run away from who you are and what you eat? There's absolutely nothing wrong with our traditional food. Good morning, Linda. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you very much. Lungi is laughing. Thank you, Seville. Thank you for liking. Good morning. Thank you for joining the live. Catherine says some people, once they get to those countries, immediately their accents are changed. So, yes, this is something that is is very dear to my heart, Catherine, and I will also speak on this. Let me just answer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Honi or Huni. So, what we are speaking about is why, as Africans, we feel like we have to prove ourselves to speak very good English, to eat food that is not traditionally ours, or to dress in a way that is not that is not true to our culture. Yes. Because in isiZulu there's no R. Exactly. Exactly, Lungi. So um how are you supposed to pronounce a word that is not in your mother tongue? I was watching something, and I'm not going to mention the company, but there is this particular company that named their brand with a lot of L's because they thought it was funny that Asian people can't pronounce L because in their vocabulary they don't have an L. So when Asians pronounce L, they go right? So he named his company that just because of that reason. So you see, we don't need to be proving anything to people who just like to make fun of us. So, Catherine, um, I watch a lot of YouTubers from a lot of places, and they are mostly from African descent. And they always complain that when they migrated to the UK, or if they are born in the UK or in the US, they have to learn the language, which is English, which is all well and fine. But their parents don't speak their native language to them because they don't want them to be confused. Let me start by saying to anyone who might be confused about this is not true because children are able to learn up to 7 languages before they reach 6. And the older you get, the harder it is to learn languages. So you can never confuse a child by teaching them many languages at once. And they were saying that now that they are older, they don't have an identity because obviously, where they're living, they are the minority. And when they go home, where they are the majority, they can't really communicate the way other people are communicating because they don't know their native language. So, Catherine, I think it is a disservice to yourself, your culture, and your heritage when you want to speak and act like people who are not yourself, who are not from your descent, and who are not part of your culture. So that's just my contribution to that. Lumi said, so it affects how we pronounce other words. Exactly. When you don't have it in your vocabulary, it would be difficult. Dr. Emma said, me, I want fufu now, and I can't afford to eat it as much as I want to. Dr. Amy, like I said, sadza is a staple food in Zimbabwe. But for me to buy the maize meal, because we make it out of maize meal, for me to buy the maize meal here, it is probably five times the price of how I would buy it back in Zimbabwe. So it's something that I would love to eat, but I can't even eat it as much as I want. And to think that in primary school, people were laughing that you're eating that. Huni. I don't know how to describe what fufu is, but it is a starch that you eat alongside your protein and your vegetables. Seville is greeting. Oh, fufu is pounded meal or pap if you're in SA. Thank you, Lungi. Seville is also greeting. Dr. Amy, when I was going to the university, my uncle said they'll laugh at me, and she exchanged my gari with cornflakes. The cornflakes didn't reach my neck. Oh my God. Dr. Amy, in Zimbabwe, we make soft porridge from the maize meal, right? And depending on where you come from or how you like to have it, we add, in my family, we would add peanut butter, we cook it with salt, and then you add some sugar. We would have that in the morning before going to school. It would stay in your stomach until break time, sometimes until lunchtime. Now, when I had cornflakes, I think I would be full for maybe two hours. So imagine being hungry at school just because you want to prove something to people. Okay, they'll laugh at you. And then what? You're still going to be hungry. Alice said, it can never be me. 3 days without eating pub, I will feel hungry and I'll feel like something is missing inside me or a void that needs to be filled. Exactly, Alice. Our food, I think, is tailor made to our lifestyle and how we move, right? So yes, in my household we ate sadza 3 to 4 times a week. So yeah, we have to have it. Catherine, but we must acknowledge that the accent will change if you move to a different country. If you're in Europe and speaking English every day, your accent will change. Yes, Lungi, this is true, and especially if you move at a younger age. However, I think what Catherine was referring to, and this is something that happens in Zimbabwe, we have a running joke about this, that the moment your visa is accepted, the moment you walk out of that embassy with your visa and your passport, your accent has changed. Or you've moved to a different country for 5 days, immediately your accent has changed. So I think that maybe that's what she was referring to. Dr. Amy said, so when I was coming to Europe, the Gary I brought can feed a country. I still keep love Gary. I can't survive without it. That's true. Actually, yes. Anytime I go home, I also bring a lot of food from home. Our dried leaves, because here you can get spinach and maybe two other vegetables, but in my country we have a lieu of vegetables, so I always bring them dried with me as well, so that we Huni says, I see. Here in the Netherlands, we have something called pap, which are a lot of small grains mixed with milk and perhaps some sugar. Basically, oatmeal pap, but with wheat grains. I think it is the same concept because in South Africa, it's called pap, and it's also made from a grain, but it's maize meal. And we grind it and then we cook it with, usually people cook it with water. Catherine says that's absolutely true. It's faster for kids to adopt with the accents, 100%. Lungi, okie dokie, Huni. Huni, are you subscribed to me? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and please also like the video. Some kids adopted the accents faster than their parents. Yes, that's why I said when children are younger, they are like sponges. So if you want to teach them different languages, that is the perfect time to do it. And also their accents will adopt because they're learning something newly. But as for an adult who has been speaking in a certain way their whole lives, or who has known a certain language their whole life, it's difficult for them to adjust and to learn something different. Joanna said, I think with us Africans, we are too judgmental. Hence, people are so conscious about speaking English because if you don't pronounce something right, then you're crucified for that. But English is not our. Okay. But I guess this is serious because I know that if I can't articulate myself right in Africa, you even struggle to get the job. Hence, people are self conscious and filled with doubt simply because of accent. I completely agree, Joanna. I think that it all goes back to this idea that the way you speak English is translates to your IQ or how intelligent you are, which is something that Dr. Amy pointed out that we need to decolonize our minds because if you have the qualifications on paper, how many times are you actually going to be speaking in your workplace? And even if you are speaking, how does your accent even contribute to how well you're doing your work? So it's something that we really need to work on, especially as Africans. Like you said, we are the most judgmental towards ourselves. Mm, Seville said, well said. Dr. Amy, you love your native foods. Yes, me too. Anytime I call home and they tell me they're eating something native, I'm always saying, okay, guys, you're making me really jealous. You appreciate these things more when they don't come that easily to you. I thought you were not an African, Seville. Who, me? I am 100% Zimbabwean Shona girl. Um, Lungi said, my kids are learning Afrikaans as first language in school, and I speak to them in isiZulu full time. And I do throw in English for them to learn earlier, where in the Free States and Sesotho is the most spoken. It's just best to expose your kids to many languages. It builds their confidence. Exactly, Lungi. This is the perfect time to teach them as many languages as they can learn because it's easier for them to learn them. Lungi, Catherine is agreeing with Lungi. Hi, Nonzu. Good morning. Good morning, Dineo. Thank you so much for joining the live. Dr. Amy said the accent can change on a day visit. It's so intriguing, Dr. Amy. It's like when you drink the water from a different place, even if you drink the water from the embassy, it changes. I don't know if you guys remember that meme, or was it a TikTok or a Vine of those boys who drank the Woolworths water and they had like their normal accent, and the moment they drank the Woolworths water, they started speaking in a different, more sophisticated accent. So I think that's what happens, Dr. Amy. Once you drink the water, the accent changes. Lungi said, I get it. Even Zulu people moving to KwaZulu Natal to go to Gauteng, the accent changes immediately. Exactly, exactly. And also because I watch a lot of people from South Africa, for example, I find myself going, "Oh, Sana, Sana, guys, Batung, but it's something that just gets into your system. So it's understandable, I think. Okay, greetings to Nonzu and Dineo. Catherine said the pub seems to be the same for all African countries. Yes, we have the same concept of a starch that you eat accompanying with protein and vegetables. And I think as Africans, we're more active, right? Our ancestors used to work in the fields. We move around the house when we're working. In Zimbabwe, there's a type of pap or sadza that you cook for construction workers, and then there's a type of pap and sadza that you cook at home. So the one for construction workers is always very thick and very hard. So that's just to tell you that as Africans, I think we need something stronger to hold our stomachs, especially when we're moving around. I think that's why we have this same concept all around. Lungi said true. 14 watching, 10 likes. Keep the likes coming. Thank you, Dr. Amy. Please like the video. Thank you. Huni said, I'm not yet subscribed and I don't plan to stay for a long time, just passing through. Hopefully you don't feel offended by that. You're wonderful. Of course not, Huni. Thank you very much, actually, for being true to yourself. And that also helps me because I prefer to have subscribers who are actually going to enjoy my content. So, and thank you very much for the compliment. I don't feel offended at all. Thank you so much. Lungi is agreeing with Joanna. Catherine, please like the live. Lungi said, my Dre at 12, I'm leaving the office, but nah, I'll leave the live playing. Actually, I'm going to be logging off in about 5 minutes because I want to see how the hours will go. So I'm going to leave here before you leave the office, Lungi. Dr. Amy said, when we migrate, our food is closely tied to memories and emotions, heightened cravings. That is true, Dr. Amy. And I think especially with culture, how you know a person's culture is through their food. So it's something that's in our blood and we need it. Yes, I still remember Dre. After drinking the Woolworths water, the punctuation, the pronunciation changes. It is the funniest video. I actually love that video so much. Alice. The accent changes within a day visit. It does, Tineo. The moment you just get your passport and the visa, accent changes, even with the subbies. But Lungi, yes. Once I get to 40,000 subbies, the accent is going to change. I'm not going to be speaking like this anymore. Palesa, thank you so much for um joining. Dimple, actually. Dimple, thank you so much for joining. I will be leaving here in about 4 minutes. Joanna said we can see and hear you. I'm offended. Why are you offended? Dr. Amy, why are you offended? The dollar changes the accent to yes. So the last thing I wanted to say was um, as YouTubers, we are, I think the best thing I can do for myself and my channel is to continue to be authentic to who I am. And I think that even as life progresses, right now I'm in a different stage of my life, and I'm going to move to a different stage in my life. And of course, that is going to come with a few differences and a few perks. But I want to try and stay as true to myself as possible. And when it comes to the dollar, when it comes to the dollar, I don't want to spend all of my money trying to prove that I have money. I'll say that again. I don't want to spend all of my money trying to prove that I have money. I don't want to chase the latest car, the latest designer, the latest trend. I don't want to do that because now, in this stage of my life, I've read a lot of books, and all of the books say one thing: you usually don't invest and you don't save because you're trying to prove to people who don't contribute to your finances that you have a vast amount of wealth. And this is going to keep you in that cycle of what you're spending everything you make because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. So yes, that's something that I also wanted to talk about. But yes, the dollar is not going to change the accent. It's not going to change the mindset, the wealth mindset, because what I'm looking to do is build generational wealth. And I don't think I can do that trying to prove. Yes, I'm getting a call, so I hope you can still hear me. I don't know if you can still hear me because the call is still there. Okay, you can hear me. So, yes, Dineo said, yes, the dollar must empower us and not um, make us just keep up with the Joneses. Dineo said, authenticity is very important, right? Ish, we can't, hey. That is really sad because when the money is finished, you'll be the one dealing with the consequences. Yes, exactly, Dineo. We, it is very sad. I think I'll leave it at that for now. And for my next live, I think I'll dwell better into this financial cycle because out of all the books I've read, I think this is the one thing that they keep on telling us. Don't try and prove to people that you're rich and then actually stay and continue to be poor. So I'm going to say my goodbye now because it seems like people want to talk to me and that's going to keep on disturbing the live. But thank you so much for joining, everyone. I am so happy that I got so many people to join, so many likes, so many poll votes. And yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you all. We appreciate you. Stay blessed and enjoy your day. Thank you, Dr. Amy. Stay blessed as well. It was so nice being here today. Thank you so much, Catherine. Goodbye, Lungi. Blessings. Blessings to you too, Catherine. Thank you so much, guys. I will be leaving in exactly 15 seconds. Alice said, thank you so much for the stream. Thank you, Alice. Thank you so much for joining and for your contribution. Thank you. I love you all. See you hopefully tomorrow. I will do more research about this topic that I just introduced, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Bye. Bye, Danilo. Thank you, and have a blessed one too. Lucy, I'm sorry. I will catch you in the next live, but thank you for joining. Thank you, guys. Bye.